Hello there, you're listening to the Box Office Show. I'm Ryan Hill.
And I'm Dylan Johnson. Today we're going to be talking about the box office numbers from last weekend and our box office predictions for this upcoming weekend.
We'll also be getting gross and gory with our newest Halloween special focused on body horror.
And to help us discuss body horror classics of the past, as well as this year's The Substance, Sean Tormey is joining us on the pod once again. Welcome back, bro.
Hello. It is always good to be back, especially when it comes to the horror franchise.
My
Hello.
goat, my horror goat, bro.
Let's start off with some news. 2026 is looking to be the summer of Tom Holland. Spider-Man 4, which is going to be directed by Destin Daniel Cretton, is slated for July 24th, 2026, which puts it just a week after Christopher Nolan's next film, which we have learned from reports Tom Holland is also set to star in that film. This, of course, is taking place after Avengers Doomsday is set to bring the MCU back in full force in May of 2026. So what do you guys think? Is it going to be oversaturated in the summer of 2026? Which of these projects are you most looking forward to seeing him in? What are your thoughts?
Definitely more excited about the Christopher Nolan one, but I think it's about time we got Tom Holland back on the big screen. I mean, the last thing he did was The Crowded Room on Apple TV, like the beginning of last year, I think, and before that was Spider-Man No Way Home at the winter of 2022. And so it's been a fat minute since we've seen Tom Holland in movie screens. He was doing a lot of theater stuff, I think, and TV stuff. And 2026 is like far away anyway. Like that's a full year and a half for us, pretty much, to get to that summer. So it'll be by then a big gap from the last time we saw Tom Holland on the big screen.
This is true. The thing that worries me about this is it pretty much confirms that we're just going to get some multiverse crap for Spider-Man 4.
Sure, yeah.
Taking place a month, 2 months after Avengers Doomsday, so they'll be in the whole Battle World thing. So we won't get the street level Spider-Man that was set up so perfectly at the end of No Way Home.
Travis.
Well,
Nothing's really confirmed with it. I mean, it could still take place at a different time. It's just going to come out after it. I don't know.
I mean,
you never know.
It could, but I think they're
Well, no
definitely
one
going to
knows
try and capitalize on it.
No one knows who Spider-Man is now, so no one even.
Yeah, maybe he doesn't even get his hands dirty in Avengers Doomsday. Maybe he goes, you know what, not my fight, and just doesn't get involved. That would go kind of hard.
I'd see that. That'd be kind of cool. I don't know. I just don't care about the MCU right now. I hear great things about Agatha, like surprisingly. I was gonna give it a watch eventually, but there's a lot of shows at MCU as I gotta watch. I just really don't care for anymore because it just feels so formulaic now.
Yeah, skip him, forget him, fuck him, forget it all. Let it die, let it die.
I did not know that Tom Holland is in Christopher Nolan's next film, though. Do we know what it is, or we just know he's starring in it?
We know he's starring in it along with Matt Damon, reportedly. There's been some rumors about it being a horror film, but nothing's been confirmed on that front yet.
I can see Christopher Nolan doing it. It's about time he did one.
But with Matt Damon and Tom Holland leading the horror movie of Christopher Nolan,
bro,
I can't see it.
Matt Damon goes hard. Matt Damon, okay, fantastic.
This is like when you just like are trying to make like something like in the kitchen, you just throw random shit together and hope it works. This is what it seems like so far. Because it's all great. Yeah. Like every ingredient is great, but that doesn't mean it's just gonna be a great movie. Listen, I'm all for it because I want to see what they can do. But let me just say, nothing really has me excited yet. We'll see.
Sean, I believe the immortal words: "Let them cook." Okay, let them cook. They'll get it done.
I do like Christopher Nolan. That he is the one I trust out of everything that I see. All that I like his films. So
yeah. In some great news for Sean, glad we had you on the show to be able to report this. An Alien Romulus sequel is in the works.
No,
I don't consider.
You don't seem thrilled. What the heck?
Very lukewarm. Well, I'm gonna love it because it's Alien, but like,
it's rad.
It does. Why does it need a sequel? Like, if it's like, okay. Well, first off, there's a whole TV show coming out still that takes place in present day like Earth, that it is an alien show. That has nothing to do with this. But like, I kind of saw this coming because of the success of it. My thing is, I saw Fede Alvarez isn't confirmed coming back for it yet, and I really liked his work with this movie. Second off, it just feels a bit too soon. Like I just don't want it to be like a new alien like set of movies. You know what I mean? Like, sure, I would love to see Rain and Andy again, but I don't want it to just be like a direct sequel coming out in 2 years. Like let it give it time. I already was skeptical about Alien Romulus because when was the last good Alien anything? It was a video game, I think, back in 2017.
Yeah.
So let the people enjoy it. It's not even out for streaming yet. Like, let me enjoy it. Give me like 4 years, 5 years, work on it, bring Fede Alvarez back, let him see what he can do. And then maybe.
Yeah, I don't even need it to be a sequel to Alien Romulus. It was just another Alien movie in that universe by Fede Alvarez that had nothing to do with Alien Romulus. Like maybe a far sequel to the actual Alien trilogy. I think that'd be cool.
I'm down for that. I'm really down for that. I just don't like the idea that A, Fede Alvarez is not confirmed, and B, they say Alien Romulus sequel. Like, I want to see more of the characters, but like, guys, it just came out a month ago. Calm down.
Yeah.
What if it did bad? What are we gonna do? What are we gonna do then? What if it didn't make money?
Ryan, thoughts?
I thought y'all would be more excited for this. I thought it was good. I'm excited to see more. I mean, Fede Alvarez, they're trying to get him back, so hopefully they'll clinch the deal there. We'll get a nice pay raise for this next one.
I want them to hurt my baby, my franchise. I don't want to do that. Because like,
look at how they massacred my boy.
There. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Because obviously, I'm gonna love everything that happens. But like, you saw Prometheus, you saw Covenant. Like, sure, they're alien films, but they're not like.
Wish I hadn't seen them.
See, this is what I'm saying. Like, you're not like me, and you could be like, yeah, I'll rewatch that eventually because I just love the universe. You didn't like them. You don't want to rewatch them. You wish you hadn't seen them.
Never.
That's why I'm just concerned as like the alien like staple, the franchise of Alien, because they're just they want money, obviously. So, but we'll see.
Yeah, everybody wants money. Money.
True. However, I think the next film, whenever it comes out, we can do another Alien episode. We can finally talk about all of them because I still have yet to see Prometheus.
I'll make you watch all of them, even the worst ones.
Yeah, so we can do our big mega episode. So for that reason alone, we gotta have one. Gotta have one coming out.
And the show will be out by then too. By the time the movie comes out, so it's called Alien Earth. So it sounds kind of cool. It's on Hulu though. Sorry, Dylan. More ads.
No, more ads. Watching just ads over and over again. Damn you, Hulu.
All right. We also have news out of the Star Wars universe. Once again, a project that has been announced and is in the works has some hiccups and roadblocks. The writer for the Star Wars movie focused on Rey is no longer attached to the project.
Goodbye, Stephen Knight.
He's gone.
Yeah, I mean, I bet they just. If I had to put money on it, I'm willing to bet that they just tried to give him a bunch of money to write exactly what they wanted, and he didn't like the story that they had, and they wouldn't budge on it, and he just dipped. Creative differences, you know. I'm willing to bet. Which is just how it goes in the Star Wars world. There's always going to be creative differences about the stories you want to tell.
Yeah, but it's
no luck for Star Wars.
How long we've had this trend of movies getting announced, people get attached, and then they fall off. And this will be in limbo. I mean, they're trying hard to get this one off the ground, but it was supposed to come out at the end of 2026. That's definitely not happening. So it's going to get delayed. So we'll see when exactly they're able to get this train back on the tracks, but
yeah,
not looking good.
I'd be down if they waited like 10 more years to make this movie. Like really let the prequels sink into the zeitgeist and then bring Daisy Ridley back, you know?
Well, that's what I'm saying. If you're going to go and focus on one of the sequel trilogy characters, like just wait and then bring them all back and try the new
let that shit marinate.
New generation. So, yeah, I think it's too soon for them to bring that into the fold, but there will be a Star Wars film in 2026, Mandalorian and Grogu. So They at least got one off the ground, and only because it was a show that had existed for 3 seasons beforehand. But
Yep.
they got one.
What was
Star Wars is back.
Star Wars? But like, what was the last Star Wars stuff y'all really like watched like all the way through? Because I can't even think of
Andor?
it.
Oh,
Are you kidding me? It's
dude.
an amazing show.
Mandalorian.
I don't even remember where I stopped. I don't. How many seasons is Mandalorian on now? 3.
3.
They've done
I
3. I've only
don't
seen the
remember.
first 2.
I think me too. I don't even remember the third season. So
The first 2 seasons are very good. I didn't watch season 3. I heard it fell off a little bit, but that's
Yeah,
just.
I didn't
I mean, I
watch-
will eventually watch it probably because I want to see the
Yeah.
movie. But dude, the Andor show, fantastic.
I do want to watch that.
Dude,
I want to watch that so bad.
It is the best Star Wars content since the prequels for sure. Better than all of the sequels.
Hey, I liked Rogue One. Let's calm down. I love
Rogue One is good. You're right. Rogue One is good. I think Andor is better than Rogue One, personally.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll give it a listen. A little watch.
Yeah. I co-sign that. It's fantastic.
fucking good.
Again, I'm a huge Star Wars fan still, so I've seen Ahsoka and the Acolyte as well.
Oh, sorry. Who put you through that?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Myself, again, I love Star Wars, so I watched
Masochist.
it. Not
Right.
great things to say about
Well, you're
those.
not
I guess if you
feeling well.
care a lot about Ahsoka, or if you watched Rebels, then I'd say you should watch it. But
That's the same thing.
Acolyte,
with
obviously, you don't have
They're
to.
just ruining your franchise, Ryan. They're ruining Star Wars, but you're still watching it.
because you get the gems in there, like Andor. We all thought that was a bad idea. On the show, we talked about like Andor.
Yeah, dude.
We're not going to watch that.
I
That's
like
stupid.
the idea of it. I listened to y'all's podcast.
We thought it was so stupid. We were like, why would you make a prequel to Rogue One? Rogue One is already like good enough on its own. Why do you got to stretch that one out? And dude, we were so fucking wrong. Oh my god, I've never been so happy to be wrong in my life. It's incredible. Oh, god, I gotta rewatch it.
Joyous.
It's the only reason I would get Disney Plus again is to rewatch Andor. Oh, man.
Oh, you don't even have it. Oh.
I just recently got rid of it, which was a pain in the ass because I originally bought it through the Disney Plus app on my iPhone, which was through iTunes, and then I switched to Samsung. But the only way to cancel my Disney Plus subscription is through iTunes, but I don't have an iPhone anymore. So I had to download iTunes on my computer, which is an HP computer, not a Mac. And then I had to like log into my old iTunes thing. It was like a whole fucking thing. It took me a week just to cancel Disney Plus, but I finally did it. And if I do it again, I would just
got a Samsung.
Dude, worth it. Worth the pain. Samsung's great. It's so flexible. So many options.
Oop. All right.
All right, let's do our box office breakdown for October 18th God damn it, Ryan.
What did he do? What did he do?
I just forgot
He
to put
didn't put a range of dates. He put October 18th, 2024. And I was going to say October 18th to the 24th. Because I just read the fucking script without thinking.
Hilarious. Oh, man.
It's 18th to the 20th, yes?
Yes.
These are only the box office numbers for the 18th, just that day. Just
God
the
damn
Friday.
you.
That'd be really funny, actually.
All right, let's do our box office breakdown for October 18th to the 20th. Coming in first place was the all-new Smile 2 with 23 million in its debut. That's pretty awesome. That's really good numbers for a sequel to a movie that I didn't think even did very well. And I had heard good things about Smile 2. Sean, did you watch it yet?
Oh yeah.
Was it good?
Good.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it could be just bias from what I remember. I like the first one more, but Smile 2 is so good. I don't know how the Smile movies are doing good, but
it's a pretty stupid concept.
They're good. But Dylan, if you watch the first one, it's actually really good. It's good.
I'm willing to check it out.
I liked it.
I still think it's a dumb idea, but some of the best movies are just dumb ideas. That
kind of fits the body horror a little bit too, like a little bit.
Okay. All right. That slaps.
The Wild Robot in second place with 10 million.
Terrifier 3, another horror movie with 9.3 million in third.
Beetlejuice, 5 million.
We Live in Time, 4.2 million.
Joker, Folie à Deux, 2.1 million.
Piece by Piece, 2 million.
Transformers 1, 1.9 million.
Saturday Night, 1.7 million.
And the re-release of The Night Before Christmas.
Nightmare Before Christmas.
Nightmare Before Christmas.
Come on, man.
I
did the same thing myself. I'm like,
you did
what?
the same thing, bro. Come on, man.
I was like, I don't think I've heard of that movie, but I thought it was
Come
the
on,
one.
man. 1.2 million for The Nightmare Before Christmas. And we can do our box office predictions for October 25th to the 27th. The big movie coming out this weekend is Venom: The Last Dance, with very, very tepid critic reviews. It is on Ryan's box office draft as of a few episodes ago. He's hoping that it can do better than the movie that he replaced it with, which was Twisters.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way.
What are your predictions, Ryan? You're the one who's done the research. You're the one who cares that this does well. What do you think Venom: The Last Dance is going to make in its opening weekend?
It won't do what I needed to. I'll tell you that. But I think you can go for a 65 mil, 70 mil, something like that.
Dude, you're so hopeful. There's no way.
I'm giving it 55.
I'm sitting at like a 45-50. I don't think so at all.
Well, did you go see it this weekend, Sean?
No.
Tragic.
Ryan, did you go see it?
Obviously not. I'm sick as a dog. So
can't even support his own movie because he's so sick. God wants me to win this box office draft so bad that he plighted you with illness, Ryan, so that you couldn't see your own movie. He could just keep buying tickets and not going to the theater just so he can win.
Yeah.
That's really good. He's so committed.
Just to
all right. Let's talk about our main topic of discussion. This is our Halloween special on body horror. I think in the past we've done slasher films and maybe one on more supernatural movies. This is the first time we've talked about the gross and yucky, disgusting body horror, the physical personification of change of the human body by making it look very yucky, gross with blood and pus and yuckiness. That is my description of body horror. Ryan or Sean is the leading expert of all things horror here. How would you describe body horror movies?
Well, it's kind of like I consider it like a more like mainstream genre than more like a subgenre because like you said we talked about slasher movies, supernatural movies. Those are more like mainstream, like just basic horror, like subgenres of horror, but they could be their own genre. Whereas like I think there are even subgenres of body horror. Like there's a torture porn movie like Hostel. That is technically also body horror, but it's more like people know it as a torture porn movie. Stuff like that.
Yeah, or like what's it called? Martyrs. Something like that.
I was actually going to talk about that as well. Like when we were done with everything, Martyrs is an insane body horror movie, but people refer to it as more of a torture porn style movie. So I agree with what you said. It's just more like horror around the basic body of just humans and like what happens to them, changes that they go through them. Sometimes even slashers can be one with body horrors too because of how the movie is. Like I'd say Terrifier could also be considered a body horror film because of what they do in those movies. It's
Saw in a lot of ways. The Saw franchise.
Saw too. So pretty much anything that is done, changes, or like sawed off on the human body, I just consider body horror. So you're pretty much correct.
Yeah. And what do you think is the big draw of these kinds of movies? Like the body horror genre itself, what makes people want to go and see these things?
I feel like your average person that would want to go see this kind of movie, it's like shock factor almost. Because if you ever went to like go to see Saw back in 2000, I think 2 or 4, it'd be like, no way that happened. Oh my God, no way he just cut himself. Or like, no way they just did this to this guy in here. Like, I think it's a big shock factor. And then it's just like the surprising of how unbelievable they can like get creative with it. Because, and I'll use a great example here talking about Terrifier. I saw Terrifier 3 2 weeks ago. I brought one of my friends who's also a big movie guy, never seen a Terrifier movie.
Okay.
The things that happened in that movie, I honestly think were indescribable. There was some genuine, just gross, creative, and like just jaw-dropping things. And I was like, this is awesome. Like I was having a great time. And the audience was too. So I really feel like it's just shock factor plus imaginative creativity that bring in people when it comes to body horror films.
Yeah. I think it's like this the curiosity of
Mm-hmm.
wanting to see something you know you shouldn't see. Like looking at a
Yeah.
car crash and knowing that you might see someone really hurt. Just the curiosity of like maybe I should maybe I do kind of want to look at it. And then like the something primal about like closing your eyes, looking away, but then peeking through a little bit because you still want to see it,
Mm-hmm.
but you don't really want to see it, but you kind of want to see it. Something like that. And
Yeah.
I just think things like that are appealing to human nature. And I think in body horror specifically, you can go and you can watch these things without really averting your eyes, just because it's fake, it's made
Mm-hmm.
for a movie, it's all special effects, as opposed to like seeing a real car crash where you don't really want to see that, but like
Exactly.
only like your subprimal part of you kind of wants to see it, but you really don't want to.
Well,
What do you? Yeah,
well, I was gonna say I
go
was gonna
ahead.
piggyback off that because I was also gonna mention that I agree with you. I think compared to other horror films, it's not real. Like
Hmm.
body horror things, like they can get that creative. They can be as realistic as they can, but it's still like you won't believe that kind of happened. Whereas you could go watch like The Conjuring, where it's like based off a true story, even though it's a movie, but people will believe that thing happened. Or like when
Yeah, they
Paranormal
will.
Activity came out, people thought that was real. Blair Witch, everyone thought that
Hmm.
was real. This
Hmm.
body horror is like it's just so
Yeah, like no
almost
motherfucker would
ridiculous.
film this shit. Nobody would
Yeah,
actually
like what
film real torture and put it
exactly.
on a movie screen.
Exactly.
It is
So
like
the
so outlandish
yeah,
in a way that you can enjoy it and be terrified by what you're seeing and how gross
hmm
it is, but know fully that this is like special effects.
yeah, much agree.
What movie do you think was the first true body horror movie that you ever saw?
I think in a
Because for me, it's
way,
it's The Thing. The Thing is the
I was
first
about to
body
say
horror
it was
movie I
the
think I've ever
thing.
seen.
It
Yeah.
was definitely the thing because I that's my second favorite movie of all time, and I
Hmm.
remember seeing it. I don't remember how old I was, but that's like one movie that I will always talk about and show people because to
Hmm.
this day I think it's the one movie I'll always have questions about. And I've even been to a master class with Keith David talking about his works, talking about his upcoming stuff, talking about just life. And I
Hmm.
know people would talk about the thing a lot, and even he doesn't know some stuff. He just knows what he believes in. So like, I just love
Yeah.
talking about it. But when it comes to body horror, like the way they just get with that, with like the quote unquote alien idea of like anything could be anyone, is just so creative and it's so genius. So it would
Yeah.
I would also say it's the thing, Dylan.
Yeah. Ryan, your first experience watching a body horror movie? Do you think? What do you think it is? As the resident horror hater.
I'm not sure what would exactly qualify as a body horror thing. I mean, I guess I watched The Thing a couple years ago. I don't know beforehand if any of the other
With me in
horror
theaters.
films I was exposed to was
I don't
qualifying as
think
body horror stuff. But yeah, I mean, you and I saw it together, so I'd say that's, I mean, for sure the one that we can know certifiably that I watch as body horror.
have you ever
Yeah, and
seen
But
having seen some
any
body horror
Saw Evil
movies,
Dead?
Ryan, Evil Dead is a good one. Yeah, that's a really good body horror pick.
I feel like
Ryan,
Ryan's seen that before.
do
I
you
have
think
not.
that not being a horror guy, what is it about body horror specifically that makes you not want to watch? Because in a lot of ways, it is less scary than a lot of like supernatural things or slasher things. There's a little bit less tension most of the time. It's mostly just like spectacle of the gore and the horrorness of that. What about body horror specifically makes you not? Because to me, I see something like that and I'm like, it's like a car crash. It is awesome. It's crazy. I need to like continue to see these things because like even when I want to avert my eyes, I like have to see what's happening. For you, psychologically, what is going on when you watch these movies where you're like, I don't think I'd want to watch another one.
Yeah, the whole thing about like, I guess it's just gore in particular, like that stuff
Hmm.
doesn't interest me. Um, and I can see the idea of like, oh, it's a spectacle and, it's in a movie. So it's like the one thing that you can give yourself over to because logically it's not real. But then obviously, film is all designed to make you get invested and feel real emotions in response to whatever you're seeing. So
Hmm.
you can get the thrill of like seeing something heinous and nasty and gross and all that stuff, but you can still walk out not feeling like a bad person because it's not actually real and no one actually like suffered those horrible, I don't know, like limbs getting cut off and stuff like that.
Hmm.
So On one hand, I can kind of like see the appeal of that. It's just for me personally, yeah, I'm not. I've never been curious or interested in like just very overly bloody things or body parts getting ripped off or turned inside out and stuff like that.
Not
Like
even
it
like
just doesn't
action
really
movie
appeal.
stuff, like Kill Bill or something.
No, I mean, again, like it's not like I've ever had a problem. Like blood in movies does not faze me. Like I'm fine with that
Sure.
stuff, but it's just it isn't a plus or a bonus for me if I
Mm,
go in and something's like really
okay.
bloody and they go all out with it. That just doesn't speak to me. Um, and then in some
So
respects,
interesting.
there are some things that because they do freak me out, I want to avoid them. Like we talked about needles and stuff like that. Just in my
Hmm.
real life, not a big fan. In things like Requiem for a Dream, like any drug
Oh,
related thing, when people are like putting their needles into their
Literally.
arms, especially when it's like all purple and bruised from just getting used over and over again,
hmm.
like that stuff
Oh,
does
dude,
freak me
you
out
must have been
immensely.
living during the substance then. Oh man.
Yeah, I felt the same way,
Yeah, we'll talk
Ryan.
about that part. Um, but yeah, so because there's some of that stuff where I'm like, yeah, I don't want to be exposed to that. I'll try and avoid it. But there's also nothing about the grossness or goriness that makes me want to go see it. Like I don't really want that spectacle. Um, Although I can
Hmm.
appreciate that, as you were saying, Sean, like the creativity and the shock factor of like how far can we push the envelope and how wild can we get with some of these things. I can admire that stuff, but yeah, generally I'm not too like actually interested in seeing it play out, or I don't seek it out at least.
Hmm. That's crazy. I just think it's so awesome. I just think like even like in just an action film, just like Kill Bill. I mean, the whole sequence in
Yeah.
the first Kill Bill where they're just the huge samurai fight and she's just hacking off limbs and there's blood going everywhere. It's just awesome. It's just awesome to watch. In the substance, watching all of these like gooey, gory, like I think I'm just mesmerized by the
Gooey.
spectacle of the special effects. It is so well done and so realistic that it's like it's captivating. Like I'm gripped to my seat, the edge of my seat, and I am glued to the screen with what's going on and instantly captivated by what's happening because I think it just looks so awesome. So it's just interesting to hear your perspective, I guess. But let's talk about the substance now. This is a movie we've all seen. It came out this year. It stars Margaret Qualley, Demi Moore. Is it Demi Moore or Demi Moore? I always say it wrong.
That was Demi Moore, but I don't
Demi
know.
Moore. Okay.
I don't want to get her name wrong.
Demi
She's great.
Moore, and Dennis Quaid. And yeah, I mean, this is a movie by Corley. I'm going to say her last name wrong. Fagier,
You got it. I
Fageau.
don't know.
Sure, but this is obviously designed to be very very body horror heavy. It's about Demi Moore, who is an aging film star, and she wants to return to her youthful looks because she's being fired from her job and cast out and forgotten. And so she takes the chemical substance that will split her into two, her older self and now a new younger self that she has to switch back and forth between every week. And it's about the balance of that. But really, just a wonderful metaphor and allegory for aging and stardom and like the cost of beauty and the inability to accept age as something that will happen and the inability to accept the looks of age and what are happening to your body as you get older and sort of the cost that ignoring those things might have on a person. And I think it's just absolutely wonderful. I think it's a nice criticism of Hollywood and how it views older women specifically, how stars will age and they will be forced to fade out. And it's very hard for older women to find roles in Hollywood. And I think there's just so much going on. And I think it tackles all of its subjects very, very well. And on top of all of that, is incredibly disgusting, horribly gory, gross. Some of the greatest body horror things I've ever seen. Absolutely wild. Goes balls to the wall and never apologizes for what it is or what it needs to do. Wonderful filmmaking, start to finish. You guys' first impressions. Sean, we'll start with you.
I won't lie. I had no idea anything about this movie until after me and my friend Nico saw Terrifier. I just convinced him to get the Regal Unlimited. The only reason is because I even debated on switching to AMC as well, but I looked and there's really only like one AMC that's close by and then like 4 Regals around the corner.
That's
so
what
like,
I'm
I'll
saying, man. If I lived right next to that AMC, I would absolutely do the AMC stubs. But
exactly.
I have to pass 3 Regals just to get to that one AMC. I might as well just do Regal.
Yeah, there's no point. Yeah, but I would. I convinced him to do it, and he mentioned that movie. I didn't know anything about it, and then Ryan mentioned it to me, especially when we were talking about it now. I was like, yeah, I'll go see it. And then me and Nico found a time. Actually, what's today? Sunday? Friday. I watched it Friday. No idea what I was getting into. I didn't do any research, so I really went into this blind.
This is a good movie to go in blind. Really good movie to go in blind.
All I knew that Dennis Quaid was in it, and I was like, okay, sure, let's see what Dennis Quaid's doing. That was peak cinema, as I said, as I walked out the theater. I had a really good time. I had a really, really good time because I just kept getting like surprise around each corner. Like I've seen 4 movies in the past week and they've all been pretty much horror-ish movies. I think 3 of them were including this. I wouldn't really call this one like a horror movie, but like a suspenseful thriller almost. And I've been fairly surprised in all of them. And I've been like, just shocked with some things. This one, I had no idea I was getting into. The idea is so unique and cool. And it's executed so well that I felt I'll say how my friend said it. He felt like every emotion watching this movie. He felt sad. He was laughing. He was angry. He was cringing. I was like, that's how you know you saw a good movie. Like it had everything. Yeah. And it had
absolutely
awesome.
Everything. So good answer. Ryan, first impression?
So I think it was very effective at what it was trying to do. Going into it, I did know a lot more than like Sean, for instance, going into it. The thing that I was surprised about going into was the campy tone, how comedic it was trying to be as well throughout all of it. So that was quite a surprise to me in there. And then as far as the body horror stuff, it definitely delivers on that. So if you wanted to get your fix for a body horror film, this is your go-to. Because, in many different ways, it throws some absurd images at you. And the special effects go crazy for it. I will say overall, I'm not as big a fan as you guys are for it, for the overall experience.
Schmuck.
But I think it's solid. I think it knew what it wanted to be, and it leaned into it. It went all the way. So yeah, I don't think you can dock a film for anything like that.
That's still a good answer. I can see it. I see what you mean.
Yeah. Let's get into those spoilers. I mean, what are the most like squirmy moments for you guys in terms of body horror as like far as the movie goes? We already talked a little bit about like the metaphors, the analogy, but specifically talking about the body horror for this episode. What are the things that got you the most? Ryan, I imagine that the needle into the spine over and over and over again, especially as she's getting older, was a lot to watch, a lot to handle.
Yeah, that one went kind of crazy. I was able to do it fine when it was fairly early on. When again, it looked like a pimple, honestly. And I was like, okay, I can handle that. That I know. But then when it turned purple and
pussy
and bloated, one of those
that was bad. That was bad.
That was intense. It was also intense because she was just full on, like full force
shoving,
driving the needle into it. So that was
this big lumbar puncture needle, bro.
Yeah.
I was also just so concerned. Like, do you have to do it there every single time? Like, you have a whole body to use. Do we have to keep doing this? I was so concerned.
Right. Yeah. The mechanism too, like where like it came from the spine, clearly somehow related to the spine, but
yeah,
I think it's supposed to be spinal fluid because that's where all of her DNA is. I think that's why she's injecting it into herself. She's injecting spinal fluid into
spine to use. Like, okay,
you can probably find a different spot to go in, but I think in terms of drilling home, like the overall feeling of literally sucking out her life force, I think digging it into the same spot over and over again really gets that point across. Also, it's just grosser.
Yeah,
she's way grosser.
That was the only moment that felt like I think I covered my eyes once because I actually screamed and I was just like, they did not have to tell me this.
Yeah, I've seen this movie twice now. Go ahead, Ryan.
Oh,
Go ahead, Ryan.
Twice?
The one that got me both times, because I've seen it twice now, was when Margaret Qualley is like falling apart herself towards the end of the movie, and she runs to the elevator and she goes to press the button and it splits her nail off. Dude, I can't do fingernail stuff, dude.
I thought that was funny.
Fingernails and toenails, dude. I think it's the idea of losing a nail is disgusting to me. Like I just can't do it. Anytime people are like like pulling their nails off or like shoving things into their nail beds, I can't.
Yeah,
dude,
shoving.
Oh my
shoving
god,
things
I don't
into your
like
nail
that.
bed is tough.
yeah, dude.
Yeah,
But
Over the
I'll
summer,
have you
my
know-
brother called me and he was freaking out because he was moving to his new place and he told me that he had like shoved his hand into a box and a glass shard had like
Oh,
stabbed
okay.
stabbed him under his nail, dude. Oh, and I was like, oh, dude, that sucks.
The
That's
imagery
like
of
so
that villain.
bad.
That's so.
Yeah, dude, he was calling me and I was like, oh, that's so rough. I don't want to know anything about this anymore. That's horrible.
Dylan,
But
I'll have you know
yeah, dude,
that
I can't do nails.
my like ring finger toe,
Uh,
the one next to my pinky there,
Yeah.
it is currently growing back its nail, the entire nail, because it came off 2 days ago.
you lost a nail?
Oh,
Wow. Did you like stub it or something?
Yeah, I think it was just stubbed from something. And
Ooh.
so I went to like just touch it,
Ow.
and then you know how you can feel like when you touch it, it's
Yeah.
just a little too loose.
Yeah.
So I could peel away, and I was like, oh yeah, that's just the
dude.
full
Oh,
nails coming off there.
Right.
So
I don't even.
yeah,
I
had to take it off.
I don't even cringe that bad at nail stuff.
It's purple
but
right
when
now. Do you
it's
guys wanna see a
YouTube
picture?
describing. No. If I can't even
The
see
picture.
you, I don't want to see your toes. All right.
Yeah, do not send me a picture of your toeless dogs, bro. Your nailless dogs. I don't want to see that shit.
Toeless
God.
dogs.
It looks rough.
Ugh. Yeah, I bet it
Yeah,
fucking
send
does.
it
That's
over.
disgusting, dude. That's my least favorite thing in the world is if I have like my smaller toenails, if I stab it or something, or I like try to like clip it and I clip too far and the whole thing pops off.
Yeah, it's the whole thing. It's crazy.
Yeah, dude. My pinky toes will do that because the nails are so damn tiny. If I clip it a little too far, it's the whole thing pretty much is gone, and then it's like just flesh, and I'm waiting for the nail to grow back, and it's gross. But dude, the whole fingernail though, that's like a big chunk of nail, dude. If I lost an entire fingernail,
Yeah, that's rough.
peeling it off, like the sound of peeling it off, the look of peeling it off, and it happens in the fly too, and we'll talk about it. But it's just disgusting to me. I can't do it. I'll watch any other body horror stuff. I've seen all of Martyrs. I didn't flinch for a second in Martyrs. I watched the whole thing, eyes glued to the screen. If they had gone in and taken her fingernails off, I would have walked out.
People say
Can't
Martyrs
do
is
that.
like one of like the hardest films to watch. So
It
you're
is.
saying that it's actually kind of a big achievement, Dylan. I'm gonna
Yeah,
tell
dude.
you.
I sat there and I was like, this is crazy, but thank God they're not touching your fingernails. Holy fuck, dude. It is gross though. We'll talk about Martyrs in a second when we get to more of the other stuff. But going back to the substance, I mean, there's just so much going on in terms of body horror.
You
There's
said,
the chicken leg.
you said there was two.
Chicken
you said
leg,
there was
yeah.
a fingernail and something else, right? You said you had two.
No, dude, it's just I've seen the movie twice, and every time it's
That's
the
what
fingernail thing
that
that gets
That's what
me.
you said.
And I knew it was coming too, dude. I was watching it with Ryan and Lillian. I had seen it already, and I knew it was coming. And she just shoves her finger into it, and it's one of those shots where it's like it feels like the movie's just still going, and there's like such a quick pace to it that it doesn't feel like it's gonna stop. And then it just like you can hear it like split and crumble, and I go, oh god, I flinch every time, dude. It's so gross.
It's intense. Yeah, that one didn't give
was
me
fine.
the teeth falling out. Didn't really give me the chicken leg though.
That was
Her
funny.
Working the chicken leg through her abdomen, out her belly button. I was like, what?
Oh, I
It was just
thought
a
you
lump
meant-
going through. I was like, oh god.
I thought you meant when it poked out of like her butt. I thought that was funny because I didn't know it was a chicken leg. And then when she just
They're both
shoved
funny,
her hand in, I was like,
Into her
gross,
belly
gross,
button's
gross.
crazy, yeah.
That
Dude,
was
speaking
gross.
of legs, when Demi Moore's sitting on the couch and she's trying to stand up to get to the cookbook,
Stop.
and her knee literally won't bend so that she can stand up, and it's like a good 20 seconds of her just like pushing it and trying to force it to bend, and like the noise of like the bones just like cracking a little bit and bending and popping, and then it just fully goes. Oh, dude.
Yeah, that was I was hoping for more of a payoff there. I don't know if it was the specific sound they used or just the volume of it, but the sound design on that
I
final
think
leg
yeah,
crack
it
wasn't
wasn't.
great.
It
'Cause
was.
I don't think they're trying to make it seem like her leg's about to break off.
That's
but-
what I thought was going to happen too.
Yeah, right. I think they're trying to build up to something like that, and then the payoff is supposed to be a little disappointing because it doesn't break off in the way.
It's
you think
also a
going to.
little
Thank
bit of
God.
a foreshadow to the end, if you think about it. like a tiny little bit because of what happens at the end of the film.
A little bit, you're right. Absolutely. When she's running as the big
And then her knee
monster
just straight up
thing, yep,
splits, like
yep,
blows up.
it's
Same knee
awesome.
too. So
I think I'm surprised that some of the stuff that I think is most disgusting in this movie has nothing to do with bodies at all. It's simply the depiction of food in this movie
yeah, but
is
I
brutal.
didn't, I really didn't like that.
Dude,
I
it's
didn't get queasy, but
crazy.
it did make me feel gross because I also, so I was doing a lot of stuff on Friday, like
Mm.
preparing just for this weekend because we were having people over, and I didn't eat all day, and cause I forgot, and I had to go see the movie with my friend in like 30 minutes. So I got food, scarfed it down, went to the movie, and I'm like, that is the worst idea I could have ever done, was just scarf down that food and then go see the substance. It was
Yeah,
awful.
dude. The food, the graphic, Dennis Quaid eating that shrimp and like movie screen size close up on his mouth, just tearing shrimp apart, is horrifying. The entire montage of her making all that food from the French cookbook is disgusting. Her literally shoving her hand up a turkey's ass to like stuff it is just
Mm,
so visceral. The whole thing is visceral. It's incredible. God, it never stops. And Ryan, you're right. It is incredibly campy for a lot of it, and I think that
mm,
helps so vastly in terms of being so self aware and keeping it light and keeping you going throughout what is ultimately just a horribly disgusting film for so much of it intentionally. And it gets a point. It gets its point across so effectively,
mm.
so starkly. Like, nobody can go into this movie and walk out not understanding exactly what it is they were trying to do. You know, you know exactly what it means and what it is, and you have to agree with it. You have to agree with the gross misconduct of just treating older women like trash in Hollywood and throwing them away once they've supposedly lost their beauty, and just beauty standards in general being something that holds a society back. You just can't disagree with
Hmm.
it. You can't argue against it.
Well, that's a question that I have because I want to talk about it. So,
Mhm.
taking from what you said, Dylan, like when like she loses the fingernail, from that point on to the end, what did y'all think of that ending when she used the substance again on herself when she is the substance, and then just going on from then, like the monstrosity that happens. So, like, what did y'all think about that? How would you
It's
guys feel into
fucking
that?
awesome, dude. It's just so cool. It's one of the best ending sequences to a movie I've seen in a very long time. It just like when once you think it's gone far enough, it just keeps going farther and farther and farther to the point where you think it's going to end like four different times, and it just makes it even more gross every single time. And I think that is like a hat on a hat on a hat in the best way possible. They're like building on top of something that's already great that I really love. And I think it is great commentary that people will go to extreme lengths just to see themselves as pretty and popular and likable because being pretty is likable in our society, supposedly. And in those extreme lengths, they will lose themselves completely and lose all semblance of who they ever were and are now this monstrified demon version of themselves that is no longer anything resembling what they used to be because
Hmm.
they have gone so far to be something that they're not. I think it's perfect. I think it's fantastic.
What did you think, Ryan? I want to hear what you thought about the ending.
Dylan said a point in there of it feels like it's going to end four different times. I think that
Yeah.
was one of my problems with it. I feel like the
Really?
point was
You didn't
made.
like that?
Yeah, I feel like the point was already made when they had their like wrestling match in the apartment
I don't
with the
think so.
goblin and
The
I
Margot
think
goblin,
Robbie.
the
And
goblin.
I I
I said
think
the
the whole
hunchback.
ending though, I think it just feels so aggressively in your face about the point because it feels like movies have been made over time and time again about beauty standards. Like Barbie is another movie that has talked about this exact same subject. And there's been movies over and over again that talk about the subject. And I think there's like a level of frustration on the like behind the camera in terms of just being annoyed that this point isn't being made and making it again and making it again and making it again and making it again. And so they are hammering it in saying, if you don't understand this, if you walk out of this movie, you don't understand the point being made, you are a fucking idiot because we are going to hammer it home as viscerally and as aggressively as we possibly can by just going farther and farther and farther because we've been over this and we've talked about this so many times and it's still a problem. So fuck you. You're gonna fucking watch this and you're gonna finally fucking get it. That's how I viewed it.
Gotcha. Yeah, I viewed it as they just wanted to deliver on that massive body horror spectacle part of it.
I
Because
think
I
you can do both.
think, again, I think their point had clearly been made. I mean, the film is anything but subtle. It's very, very obvious what they're going for. So, I mean, yeah, this final sequence reiterates that same point over and over again on a new level. But I think it was just like, yeah, let's go as insane as we can and have, again, just this monstrified substance, like the duplicate spinning around, its arm having fallen off, a geyser of blood just coating anyone and everyone in that
The
building
tit
there.
coming out of that hole for some reason and
Yeah.
popping on the
Awesome.
ground.
Just
So awesome.
birthing a new boob.
I like that specifically because it's like you wanted to see boobs, didn't you? Like you have these beautiful women on stage dressed scantily because you wanted to see boobs. Here's a boob. Are you not satisfied?
I'm surprised it didn't like burst when it hit the ground though. I'm not gonna lie. It looked like it was just gonna pop. I was so scared.
Yeah, it's like a movable zit.
Yeah.
A zit balloon.
I will give it credit. I like how it ended, how it started. I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
Like how it just
It's a good
like
ending.
she like kind of just melts over the star and then just gets cleaned up like nothing ever happened. You're still forgotten. No one cares. You didn't change society.
I think my
That's
brother
how
said it
it
best. He said, "Imagine being the burger stain on your own career."
Mm-hmm.
I like
Pretty
that.
good.
I like the way you put it. Is there anything else you guys want to talk about in regards to the substance? Anything else you want to bring up?
Eliza Sue.
Eliza Sue.
Well, what Ryan? What I am curious since you didn't have the same opinion as us. I don't know if you kind of said it and just I didn't hear like the specifics enough. But what was your main problem with the film, coming from your opinion? Obviously,
Yeah, any criticisms, Ryan?
Yeah.
We've been hyping it up quite a bit.
Yeah, I don't want to tear you guys down. I mean,
No, please
enjoy
do.
it.
I would
Give your
to
opinion, man. Be
It
honest.
was what I had said there about at a certain point, it just felt like we were like it was just indulging in itself at a certain point. Like its point had been made very clearly,
I love
nonstop from
indulgences, though.
like the first time. Which yeah, and so for people that enjoy the body horror aspect, then for sure that's like fun because it's just them taking that to the maximum. Since I'm not as delighted by that stuff, it didn't do much for me. And then there's also just a point where I realized I was like they're fighting it out in that apartment thing, and I was like I don't find myself
didn't like
caring as
that.
much. I feel like the emotional dimension of it had gotten lost at that point, and we had focused more on just like the spectacle of it, and again trying
I can agree
to
with that.
reiterate that point of oh she's like finding herself, and it's all this and that. But I was like we don't really get much of Demi Moore's character outside of this one like elements of her life, and then half of the movie, of course, is spent with Margaret Qualley anyway. And so I was like, we're not like given enough room, I think, to see the full humanity of her in order to attach to it. So yeah, that was just my issue there. I was like, I just felt myself completely disconnected. Despite obviously there being moments that were very emotionally moving. The scene where she's in the bathroom and is about to go on that date with that one guy, but she keeps going back to the mirror because she's not satisfied with how she looks, and she's trying to correct it and change things until she finally just starts like clawing at herself. I thought that was very moving and very effective. But yeah, other than that, there weren't many of those particular moments where I felt like we really, really got that nice, thoughtful, deep, thorough connection to that character. So, yeah, that was just my concern there. Lack of dimensionality, I felt like, outside of the things related to appearance and the beauty stuff. And then at a certain point, just us reiterating the same thing over and over again without adding anything new.
Yeah, I think I would have to disagree in the sense that I would agree that there is a lack of dimensionality, but I think it is a positive more than a negative just because I think it's obviously very intentional that the movie is very vague about the characters' backgrounds, about any depth to a lot of the side characters. It is trying to be a very tight pinpoint to this exact very, very specific topic. And I think it's trying to be the period on the end of the sentence of discussing beauty standards in society and like what it's supposed to be. And I think in a lot of ways that might make it unappealing in the sense that you're not really having a conversation, because this movie's not having a conversation about this subject. It is like telling you its opinion very, very hardly and trying to get you to agree with it. It's making like a very, very strong argument for what it's trying to say. And I think we know enough about Elizabeth as a character, Elizabeth Sparkle as a character, that we can understand that feeling of rejection of being like loved and beloved for this specific aspect of you in your career, and then having that fade away and then being thrown away in what you believe is too early. Like you have the flowers that they send her, or the basket they send her that says you were wonderful, and like it focuses on the word were, as if she is no longer has any value in any way. And then when it's Margaret Qualley, she has the flower that says they're going to love you, with the emphasis on going, in the sense that she has yet to peak in her value, but eventually it will diminish. I think it is like capitalizing on the fact that it is vague to specifically pinpoint that topic without worrying about introducing a lot of outside plot points or outside character development that might affect and take away from the thing that it's trying to talk about, which is beauty standards and the role of older women in society and older people in society and age and how it affects you, and being welcoming of age, things like that. I think it focuses in on exactly what it wants to talk about, and it talks about it absolutely perfectly.
There you go. All right, how many broken fingernails out of 5?
Dude, full 5 all the way. This when I saw it was my favorite movie of the year so far, and it was so until this last week when I saw Conclave, which took the spot.
Oh, you saw Conclave?
Oh man,
yeah,
I gotta watch Conclave.
Conclave is phenomenal. Best movie of the year so far. Absolutely fantastic.
That's a statement. Okay. I gave it a 4, but then on the way home we were joking about all the lines that the people in the audience were saying because it was very ridiculously funny. So I gave it a 4.5 because the audience was like, shoot that thing. Like, why are they just yelling at her?
That's
like
awesome.
Just yelling at her to shoot it. Like, it was just so
it's
funny.
Great. It's so
I hope
good.
it was all in just one take as well. Like they didn't say like, can you like tone it down? Like, can you try? Like, I hope one take. And then
I love that when she walks out, she's just like met with complete silence of shock, and then she's just like tries to say, "It's me, don't you love me?" And then it just like cuts to multiple women just standing up and screaming with crash zooms on them, just over and over again. They just scream at her. It's so funny.
Somebody shoot that thing! It's so funny.
It's awesome.
So I'll give it a 4 still because I think the 4.5 is just because me and my friends were joking about it a lot. So overall, is a 4. I liked it a lot.
Ryan, rating?
I'm giving it a 3 out of 5.
How many stubbed toes out of 3?
So sad. So sad.
Out of 3 out of 5. Hey, a 3 still means it's good.
Yep.
Like that still means he liked it. It's just not his movie.
The positive side of the scale.
Yeah. Now we were able to get Ryan to see Invasion of the Body Snatchers as well. So we got 2 horror movies out of Ryan this time, which is
2 more than
big
last year.
numbers, pretty epic. And unfortunately, I have not seen this movie, and I don't want to get spoiled. So I'm going to mute myself and take off my headphones so I don't hear anything while you guys discuss. Just wave at me when you guys are done, and I will rejoin the conversation so that we can talk about more body horror.
All right, will do. Okay. I'm sad Dylan didn't watch it. Yeah, thank God he's gone. I'm sad he didn't watch it because he would have loved the dog.
He would have. This is a movie that screamed Dylan, but I had a feeling he wanted to watch The Fly. I didn't know he was going to watch Scanners. I know he said he was going to watch The Fly. I thought, but yeah, Dylan will love this movie. He needs to watch it probably after this. Like it's a Dylan movie for sure.
Yeah, I definitely think so. I thought it was, again, just very effective. Again, the horror stuff like wasn't really that prominently horror. A lot of it was just I feel like suspense. And they did really well there. Again, most of the scary stuff was just the unsettling people walking around emotionless in the background.
Yeah, just like staring at you and
exactly.
Like, especially when people like break their like character almost of like blending in, and you're like, well, they're gone. Like,
yeah. So those were the most unsettling moments throughout the film. But as far as the body horror stuff, obviously the pods and the people emerging from the pods, the duplicates.
And the dog, of course. We just mentioned the dog. Yeah, we love that dog.
But those, of course, are very good. Again, the practical effects, them being very slimy,
Mm-hmm.
and then just that interplay between once you close your eyes and the duplicate will open its eyes. We saw it with Jeff Goldblum.
Oh God, yeah,
That was great.
my king.
Indeed. So I thought that was all very on point.
Mm-hmm.
And
I
then
think Elizabeth. Oh God.
I was gonna pivot to a whole different thing of just like the cinematography. A lot of the shots were incredible.
Yeah.
The moments of him inside the closet as he's like hiding when he's trying to go and
Mm-hmm.
retrieve Elizabeth, like that looked incredible. That whole sequence was also very tense. Like I'm
When
always
they're on the
impressed
run, and
when,
then oh wait, not the one on the run. You said the one in the closet.
yeah, but where it's just him taking Elizabeth out,
Yeah.
and then he's like rushing through the basement and down to the alley over to the car, and
Mm-hmm.
you're like waiting for when he's gonna show up. I thought that was really well done. But yeah, them overall, there were some great shots as well of them as a group just running from the horde of the pod people
The pod
chasing.
people. Just
Yeah.
like the oh yeah, yeah. That's the thing with like when it comes to body horror in general is like the reason I also like kind of picked this one when y'all sent me that list is because I think it's a great example of like old fashioned body horror that makes any sense. Not like old,
Hmm.
okay, old fashioned is kind of the wrong word, but like for the time when it came out, because this isn't even the original. The original came out in 1956, which was
Yeah.
I think it had the same name. I haven't seen it in years, but I know I have seen it black and white. Invasion of the Body Snatchers. I think it's still called the same thing, but I just love it because it's not your typical horror film. Um, but it still gets like that message across of like the genre it is and like the actual element of it, which is body horror. It is just meant to be gross. It's meant to be unsettling. It's meant to keep you guessing on what's going to happen, who's who, where do they go next, and all. But also, it has you, like you said, with the dynamics in the beginning. It has you just understanding the characters and like where they're going with this, this thing that's going around. Funny enough,
Hmm.
as well, Ryan. When I was a kid growing up, this movie scared the crap out of me because I thought it was real. Out of every movie I watched as a kid, I honestly thought this movie was real because they blend in with everything. So I was like, oh my god, is my dad gonna just one day just duplicate me or whatever the heck it is? I genuinely got scared as a kid, and then it didn't take till like high school when I rewatched. I was like, oh my god, I watched this as a kid. I hated this movie. I was so terrified. I deadass thought everyone was a body snatcher. It was crazy.
Dang. Yeah, that's this is one of those ones which we talked about the thing and just that
Mm-hmm.
fear
Very
of like
similar.
not knowing if the person you're talking to is really them.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's such a natural fear in a way because like when does that actually materialize in our real life? But it's so unsettling. This one taps into that very well. So yeah, I thought that was just really really strong. Um, as far as my concerns with it, some issues with it,
Oh yes, please tell me.
I just thought like the gang, like as they're trying to figure things out, I thought they were just a little flat-footed and a little, little not smart about how they were
Yeah.
going through
Well,
figuring things out and trying to reach out to people. I was like, there could have been
yeah.
more that they were doing early on that would like help try
Well,
and
speaking
stall
of
the pod people in their spread.
true. Well, speaking of like dimensionality too, I think that also goes kind of with this how you're talking about in the substance. I mean, then again, this movie is a lot older, obviously. So like
Hmm.
filmmaking then, depending on the genre, the studio where it's going, won't have a lot of dimensions with its characters. It's kind of just being like this is a movie made for shock factor. I feel like back then, but it became one of those classics. So, but I agree. There's not really a smart character in this movie, but for the time period, no one in these kinds of movies was that smart. So I get your gripe with it, but I think it kind of fits the film still a little bit.
Yeah, somewhat, but if our main guy was like the head of the health department and everything,
Mm-hmm.
obviously it's sort of a different thing, like this massive alien invasion through taking over people's bodies. But I was like,
Doing
give me something.
flowers.
Like you're a scientist, man. Like, come on. They have a scene where they go in and do testing, and she like gives it over to some other guy to do testing. And he's like, yeah, it'll
Oh
take
yeah,
48 hours. And I'm like, really?
and
You're
then
not gonna just like
and
tell
then it
this
just
guy
all
to
goes
get
to shit,
lost
literally.
and do it
Yeah.
yourself? Like that was a little absurd to me.
Mm-hmm.
And then I don't know, certain things with Elizabeth's character and also her actress, I think made it tough. I don't know that she was
I liked
the
her
strongest all
actress.
the way through. There were some parts where she was really good, like when she actually became the pod person. I thought that was really
Mm-hmm.
effective. But there were other parts where I was not buying it. And she's surrounded by, you know, Sutherland and Leonard Nimoy and Jeff Goldblum, who are all doing great.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Um,
yeah.
so yeah, that was, and Jeff Goldblum's partner in the film, wife. I don't know if they were just dating or if they were married yet or anything, but I thought she was really strong as well. So yeah, that was tough. And then certain things with their characters, like they have her mess up almost exclusively. Like she just constantly is making
Yeah.
mistakes, or she's like breaking her heel. She's getting scared by the dog, which makes sense. I mean, that was a great one to have.
Mhm.
But then she also just falls asleep in the end, which I think, you know, it's a remake. Maybe it's how it is in the original as well.
Yeah, I don't remember.
But I'm like, man, they just keep having her mess up over and over and over again. I'm like, let her do something right for once.
How did you this is a very weird question, but I like asking this question to whoever sees it. How'd you feel about the duplicate screams in the film?
It's very going along with substance, very campy, very cheesy, which I'm sure back in the day it was not meant to be. But when she screamed, when it's like her as the pod person naked screaming at Donald Sutherland when he's up there trying to cut down all the things, I was like, that's hilarious. I will say that the final one
at the very end,
when he opened
Nancy?
his mouth and it seems like it was like almost an involuntary reaction that he had there, I thought that was great. And then it cuts to a close up on him and then it looks a little more goofy. But the scream there was actually good paired with his mouth opening up there. I thought that was really effective. But yeah, they hold on him too long and it just comes a little goofy and it's like, But
yeah, I would definitely give this movie the goof factor as well. Like it is technically body horror, but to me it's the goofy kind of body horror because I think it's so old though. Like I feel like if they remade this movie now, they could do some really interesting things with it. Do I want it? I don't think we need it. I feel like there'd be too much CGI now if they did that. Like it kind of suffers from you. Have you seen the Thing prequel-ish movie that came out in 2013?
No.
Yeah. Oh, that's smart. Well, it's the whole thing is kind of CGI almost, like pretty much all CGI. There's some specific things where they made like practical effects for it, and like they made like things for it. But I feel like that's what this movie would suffer from, depending on the studio that is like a hold of it. Is like I feel like it would suffer from that CGI trick. And I don't think
which you don't even need in this. Like it's just practical effects. I don't know why they would ever need to do CGI for a Body Snatchers film.
It's just kind of what it is now, though, right? They didn't need to do that for the Thing film, but they did with the new one.
That's true. Yeah, I don't get it. I mean, I can maybe see where they're like, well, the practical effects in the Thing are so legendary and iconic. Like, let's not even try and recreate that. Let's just do it a different way. But with this one, you wouldn't really need to go in that direction. But yeah, I think this is one film that would lend itself to having a remake nowadays, because I know the 50s was obviously tied to the Red Scare and stuff like that. This one seemed to be tied to like 70s conspiracy stuff, post Watergate. So I feel like nowadays it could be interesting to have that happen again post pandemic. Like that would be an interesting.
Oh, that'd be very interesting post pandemic style. Like it's still like the Body Snatchers, but like right as we get out of pandemic time. That's very interesting,
right? Yeah, I think that'd be compelling. So
I wonder how they do it though. Like, would they keep it like the same formula of like how they do the pod people, or would they change it up a little bit because they're trying to make it more modern? Who knows?
Yeah, I don't know. It'd be an interesting thing, but yeah, this was a fun watch, interesting watch, very effective in a lot of ways. Love the cast.
Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah. I want to go visit the other one, so it makes me want to rewatch the 50s one. I know there's a 90s one, and I hope they make a new one.
I'll watch it with you one night. Cool. I'll definitely watch it with you one night. So the 90s one, I don't know about that because y'all were talking about that one.
Yeah,
I don't know.
You said Body Snatchers. That one's literally just called Body Snatchers. Like these ones are called Invasion of the Body Snatchers. That one's
that's
Invasion.
The one. The 70s one, the Invasion of the Body Snatchers, is the one to watch. When Dylan said Body Snatchers, I haven't seen that movie. I don't know. Maybe that is a new one or a remake.
Yeah, it's the same one. It's the newest version of these.
Well, I'm glad you watched this one.
Yeah, we talked about that of making sure we watch this one. Okay, so how many pod people out of 5?
I give it a solid. I actually never thought about this. I think because of the nostalgia for me, the campiness, honestly, the body horror that's kind of funny, and because it scared me as a kid, I'll give it a solid 3.5. But like, kind of,
it made you fear your family and friends.
It did though. Like, I don't remember how old I was. I think I was like 8 or 9, and I was watching it with my dad, and I just remember like, You remember that scene? I don't know if it's in this one, or if it's in a different one. Was it in this one where they jump off the building?
I don't
Probably not.
recall. Jump off
It
the
might
building.
be. And then like the girl, there's like a woman that like breaks her facade, and then they take her. That must be a different one. But there are like certain scenes where you watch it and then you realize like what's going on. And I just thought everyone was fake ever since then. Like for 2 days, I was like, these people are lying to me. So I'll give it a 3.5 for being realistic. No, I'm kidding. But 3.5 from memory. I probably should watch it again.
Yeah,
I'll watch the 90s version too. Go ahead.
I give it a 3.5 as well.
Ooh, he liked it more than Substance.
I did.
Dylan's gonna hate you.
Well, no, we'll tell him that, and then that'll make him want to watch it even more. Sorry, let's wave him in. Wave him back.
Dylan.
Have him come in. He's coming down the runway. And
I'm back.
Welcome back.
Amazing.
How was your discussion? Was it fun?
I don't know. Yeah. Why don't you tell him your rating, Ryan?
What was your rating, Ryan?
A full 5 out of 5. No, it's not.
Oh.
I give it a 3.5.
Which was more than he liked the Substance, Dylan.
That's insane. I mean, I don't know. I haven't seen the movie, but that's insane, dude.
You should watch it.
It's good. Dylan,
I should though. Watch it. I would like to see it. Yes.
Dylan, this movie is very much Dylan coded.
Okay.
And then when you watch it, Dylan, just
love Donald Sutherland.
Yeah, just be ready for the dog. That's all I will say.
The dog.
I'll
remember that.
Which one are we talking about first? The Fly.
We could talk about anything now. We can talk
about anything.
You and I have both seen plenty of body horror stuff. We can.
Let's go back to the Substance.
Oh God, the ones that I specifically watched just for this episode alone was The Fly and Scanners, and I was trying to watch Tetsuo the Iron Man, but I never got around to quite seeing it. You should watch it. I will. I'm going to watch it this week because they have a huge, great catalog in Criterion Channel right now, and I will. Tetsuo the Iron Man is only like an hour. I can crush that pretty easy. And I've always wanted to see that.
Let's talk about Scanners then, because that's the one that I did rewatch.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And I know The Fly, I know the plot, I know everything about it. But we can talk longer for Scanners and just touch briefly on The Fly. Also, that is the most mainstream one too, so I feel like people know The Fly more. Yeah.
Dude, Scanners, I was really looking forward to it. I want to watch a bunch of David Cronenberg movies because I feel like I would really like his stuff, especially like his dramas. I think I would really like those as well, as on top of his body horror stuff. And there's also a Criterion Channel collection on right now about just David Cronenberg.
Yep.
And man, I was a little disappointed in Scanners because it is a great concept. And as I'm watching it, I'm thinking this thing is filmed incredibly well.
It's shot.
It is shot so great, and it is like on par production wise with the first Terminator. Like the biggest disappointment is that it is just a terrible script.
Yeah,
it's God, so bad.
Dude. It is
I'm so sad about it.
So slow of a film.
It really is.
It's
such a bad pacing problem.
It's only an hour and a half, but it felt like my whole day.
There's a ton of plot holes. The acting isn't very great, but had it had a tight script, I think this could have been comparable to the first Terminator in terms of quality. But it just didn't, and it makes me so sad. And I read somewhere that David Cronenberg had a bunch of production problems, and he had to rush through filming and was writing while he was filming. I'm sure there were a bunch of issues and things like that. But the general concept of just a body horror movie about people who have telekinetic powers, just so awesome.
It's
Great
slightly. I'd say it was even slightly ahead of its time for a little bit because David.
I think so too. Yeah, this is 81. Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't really like this isn't what was going on then. This is when they started to explore like out of the earth kind of thing. You slowly go into slashers that because Texas Chainsaw was around this time and some earlier slashers like that. But you're also exploring out of the world, like The Thing, Alien, stuff like that. Some of my favorites. Whereas this guy is what if we just give humans the ability to use their mind on other people and let's
blow each other up, bro.
Literally.
Oh my God. And it is the special effects are so good. I just didn't give a shit about any of the characters. I didn't care about them.
Not even Cameron or the doctor.
No, dude. Cameron Vale is such a weak performance, dude. Really bad acting. No emotion whatsoever. Also, the thing that I can never get over is that we meet him twice in the beginning of the movie where he's a crazy homeless man. who is being wrangled in by a doctor to control his scanning ability. And then the next scene, he is just like an amateur spy, like James Bond. What? How did that even happen? He had like one brief training thing that he does, not even a training montage. And all of a sudden he's James Bond. I don't buy it. And then the whole plot twist at the end of Daryl Revick and Cameron Vale being brothers, and then Dr. Ruth being their father. There's crumbs there that like they're connecting the dots, but not enough to where I'm satisfied. There's not enough built up to there being a plot twist.
It's not a bad plot twist, but there's nothing that like you have before it to make it a good plot twist.
And there's nothing about the characters that make me care about the fact that they're brothers.
Yeah. Or how that Dr. Ruth is the father. Like none of that. Like they don't explore that idea of it at all.
Mm-hmm.
So there's like no point. So when they just like give it to you, it's kind of like, oh, okay. And then you like pause your movie and there's like 5 minutes left. There's like, why did that matter then? So
they did all the groundwork for being a good movie. They just needed someone to come in before filming, take a look at a full finished script instead of a part of a script, and just done a couple of rewrites, touched some things up, and then gave it to David Cronenberg. And this could have been sci-fi classic, absolutely. Because those special effects, oh my god!
Well, I think for the special effects, it is a classic because
for sure. It is a body horror classic, absolutely. Yeah.
That's what I want to talk about because when I saw Scanners, I was like, oh shoot, I really want to rewatch Scanners.
Yeah,
because I like it and I still like it. I do think it's bad, but also this came out in the 70s, 80s.
Mm-hmm.
Like I still love it, but like speaking of the last scene though, Dylan, that's a great scene for special effects where they're just like mind melding each other and they're slowly.
How do they do the veins on their bodies,
so
like
cool. On the face?
How do they do that? Because it's not stop motion, I don't think. Is it like it's got to be like a thin layer on top of their skin that you can't notice that they are just like filling with a liquid to blow it up? And like it's like a latex thing that will like expand and like grow in a greenish hue. Or maybe it's a skin colored latex, and as they're pumping it with blood, the dark red color of the blood underneath the latex makes it more green, like a greenish hue. But I don't know. It's just like it's invisible. You can't even see it, and then it just starts growing on their arms and their face, and it's practical. And I don't know how they do that. It looks incredible. I've never seen it when
I like when it gets on Cameron's face and it starts like leaking out of that in his eyes. And I'm like, damn, brother's going down.
Dude, and there's nothing more iconic than like the shot of him on fire, and then in front of him is Daryl Revick, his face blowing up on the side. He's screaming, and his eyes are just fully white. Like that is like so incredible looking.
I will say though, again, this is a script thing. The ending is kind of weak.
It's so weak.
when she
walks in and he is Cameron Vale. I don't understand. I don't understand what they're trying to do there.
Cameron Vale.
I don't get it.
Be okay now, or like whatever the hell he says. I'm like, all right, dog, sure.
Yeah. For the effects alone, this movie is for sure worth a watch and worth rewatches in the future. But
we have to make Ryan watch
movie. It is like definitely a bad movie.
We have to. I
wish. I don't really like the idea of remaking movies. I don't really think that there's a great value to it. But if I was going to remake a movie, I think now I would want to remake Scanners. I think that would be a movie that's worth a remake.
Would you want Cronenberg to come back for it? Or would you want like a new director to step in with it?
I would want to do it. I know how to do it. I know exactly what the
said me. Look at me.
I would do it.
As a director or as a writer? Because your main gripe was the writing, not the direction.
I would recreate the special effects as they were done incredibly well to a T, and I would just tear apart that script and fix it because I know exactly what it needs to be fixed. I know exactly, like, you need to reorder some events, you need to cut out a shit ton of scenes, you got to cut out some of the characters, and if you really want to make that twist stick at the end, you got to film certain parts of it in a different way to build up to like some kind of a twist where they're
just
related.
Gotta add more to as well because it just really gives
add more to the beginning where we need to know Cameron Vale a little bit better before he starts going on his amateur spy adventures.
Yeah, like when we have like the first like 20 minutes of Daryl when he's like in the what's it called? It's not a college thing, but like the demonstration, and then he just blows the guy's head up. Great scene. But why are we getting 20 minutes of that of just Daryl killing people?
Worth it. I think that should have been the opening of the movie. I think you should have opened with that.
That would have been better.
The stage of what scanning is, and then you go into Cameron Vale's story, and you can give him all of that time, like a good 20 minutes of Cameron Vale, who he is, what scanning is really, him training, him becoming less of a crazy person, him being told his mission, And then I would have had Daryl Revick come and kill the Doctor right then in the beginning to set him on the mission of trying to beat Daryl Revick. I think that gives him like a clear goal. The Doctor is now
just still
dead.
doesn't know. The only reason the Doctor is really even alive, though, is because he's the one that helps him control it, learn it. So unless you like had to wait,
once he's done with that, he has no function in the story, really.
He's just kind of there, like when he monologues, and then the cop just like walks in and just bang. Like the monologue made no sense. He's like, "I'm so cold." I'm like, okay, well, cool, man. I will say, I do think there are some dumb ideas in the movie. I do think
it's supposed to be like a spy thriller, and it just doesn't work at all.
Yeah, I don't like the scene where what's the female scanner's name, Dylan? I forgot.
Kim,
or whatever it is. They're in like the small little hospital because they need to go talk to the guy. She's like, "There's a scanner out there, but it's not her. It's the baby inside of her." Like, shut the fuck up. I was like, I didn't remember this scene at all. Like the baby inside of her. I
don't think it's a bad idea. I just think it's bad. I think it's bad because I think the concept of Daryl Revick is trying to give impregnated women ephemeral to turn more babies into scanners so that he can take over the world. I think is like a solid, like, this is what an evil scanner would do. I just think the line delivery, the performance or something just was rough.
It wasn't good.
And also it is hard to, it's one of those things where like, if you watch behind the scenes things of people doing the Force, they're just like have their hands up and they're pointing at each other. It's like a hard thing to act. I think similarly doing the scanner stuff where you're just like making faces at each other is a hard thing to do. And I think the guy who plays Cameron Vale, that is his acting strength in the movie, is that he's really good at doing that with Michael Ironside at the end where they're going back and forth with the faces. That shit goes so hard, even though they're just making faces at each other. But you understand like the feeling that it is a real feeling they're experiencing. And they're making the most twisted faces you've ever seen. Michael Ironside, dude, fantastic performance.
He was
probably one of the greatest movie villains I have ever seen. Absolutely phenomenal.
Really? Wow, that's funny.
I think he's really, really good. I think he's a really, really good character. I think the abilities he has makes him very terrifying, and the faces he's making, his face performance is out of this world, man. He could have been Jack Nicholson's character in The Shining.
Well, he also, I was gonna say, he looks a lot like Jack Nicholson too.
Yeah,
like, they have very good stuff there. Well, I will say as well, I think because you were talking about how you didn't like the actor who played Cameron, I think he's the second worst. The worst is the guy who played Benjamin. You know that scene where he goes to the art gallery and then he goes to see him after? I thought that scene was just so funny because he's just like, they're having this talk about where Daryl is or like trying to figure it out, and they just get nothing done. Yeah, like nothing happens. And
you're supposed to be learning information with Cameron Vale, but a lot of the times it seems like he's ahead of the audience somehow, but then simultaneously behind us at the same time. I don't know. I don't feel like information is revealed in a way that matters in any, or it doesn't even feel like it does matter at all because I don't really know what the stakes are and I don't really know why I should care. Yeah, I don't know why I should care about these people so much. Oh, they're killing scanners. Oh well, I just don't care.
Well, how'd you feel about that twist of like Daryl's working with the new head of the, not FBI?
I can fuck with that. Yeah, the CBI, whatever it is. I can fuck with it. Consec. It's Consec.
Consec.
Yeah, I can fuck with that. Sure,
I liked it.
I think having a secondary antagonist always works really, really well, and I think he played a role that was really well done. I think the whole scene
was executed poorly though.
Yeah, I think the scene of Cameron Vale being in the phone booth, connecting to the computer. First off, stupid concept to like.
Computers also have a nervous system.
You can scan the computer. Okay, you didn't tell me this before. What the fuck? You can't just throw shit like this. You can't just change the rules all of a sudden because you need it to fit the plot. Like, you should have established this. You should have had something small to establish the fact that he can connect to a computer really, really early in the movie. So we just established that as a rule. And then way later on, I think it's fine. Like, I think the scene itself of him connecting to the computer in the phone booth and then just shit going haywire and exploding, I think works really, really well. I think there's just not enough tension being built up leading to those explosions happening. And I don't think it's established well enough early in the movie that he can scan computers because that was never a thing.
That's fair. Yeah, that's fair. But I guess to sum up for the main topic, how do you feel about it as just a body horror film, not just as a film?
It's awesome. The FX are fantastic. Oh my god, dude! Because I think this is like a relatively low budget film. It is
I think
incredibly well done.
I think so. Yeah, it only made like 14 million at the box office, but it's on like a very very small budget too. I can't
Yeah.
find the budget.
The action sequences in this movie and like how well they're done, it makes me think of like, well, I was talking about with Ryan earlier about how violence can be exciting. Like this is like violence is fucking exciting, and this is it. This peak action, peak special effects is incredible. Like it could have been Terminator quality popular if it had a good script like
If it
Terminator
had
does.
just a better team, yeah, because I
Yeah.
think the overall like editing team was really good, but then like the writers, they just kind of
Yeah, dude.
had.
It was just David Cronenberg. He
Yeah.
was just pumping out kind of a dumper on this one. But I mean, his
I
his
guess.
directing style is phenomenal.
I like, yeah, the way he shoots with the camera and the way he like sets up a
Mhm.
world and a scene is very good. And
Absolutely.
it says here, yeah, it had a $4 million budget, made 14.2 million in the theater.
4 million is pretty big for the time, I would say, for
And
1981.
and they made a $10 million overall like
They
profit.
definitely, yeah, they profited for sure. So that's
Pretty
good.
good there.
Now, how would you rate this out of 5 bloody veiny arms?
Bloody veiny arms. I like Invasion of the Body Snatchers more because I like the campiness of it, and I think just overall as a film, it's a cooler idea.
I think camp just goes really well with body horror somehow.
Yeah, this one didn't feel campy; it just felt kind of dumb. Like,
Yeah,
you could
absolutely.
be dumb. You could be dumb to be campy. Or
It was taking itself really seriously, but it wasn't
Seriously,
good enough. It wasn't good enough to be taken seriously.
Yeah,
is the problem.
I still give it a 3 alone because I just had a good time watching it. As probably a film, it probably doesn't deserve that, but for me, I just and I like how Cronenberg does what Cronenberg does with what he has. I don't know what you said about like the behind the scenes, what any difficulties, but overall, I liked it. So
yeah, I would give it a 2.5. It is at its peak very, very incredible. A lot of really great scenes. I just feel like a lot of the value I derive from those scenes could be gotten just watching those scenes alone and not having seen the whole movie. Like, I don't think you need to see the movie as a whole to get the value you get out of the special effects and the action sequence and the thrills, just because to really fully feel that action, you need stakes to be present. And because there are no stakes, I can watch it without having seen the rest of the movie and feel the exact same. So I'll give it 2.5 just because when it is at its peak, it is incredible. But
if a remake's around the corner, I'll be the first one in the theater.
I could do it right, man. I could
start working on it.
Start reshape that script, bro. Oh my god!
There are 2 sequels.
What?
2
there are.
Oh yeah, there are. There are. I saw that.
2, The New Order, and Scanners 3, The Takeover, and then Scanner Cop and Scanner Cop 2.
Can we watch Scanner Cop, please? Can that be the next podcast?
Yeah, that sounds awesome. Scanner Cop sounds awesome.
I feel like it's just really bad movie. Like there's just nothing good about it.
Yeah. Now David Cronenberg, I don't know if his next movie was The Fly, but one of his next movies was The Fly, and this is obviously like the pinnacle of body horror. The movie people reference the most when it comes to body horror, and one of David Cronenberg's most popular films, if not his most popular film.
Okay, before I take off, The Fly, should I watch it?
Yes,
absolutely. Yes.
It's not that bad, Ryan. Like, even as a body horror film, you might just find it gross, but it's not like the substance gross.
It is absolutely worth a watch, dude.
It's just cool to look at, kind of gross. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, yeah,
you won't cringe.
It is also like,
I think I can handle it for sure.
Unlike Scanners, it is an incredibly well written story. It's obviously based on a movie that already came out, but the like progression that Jeff Goldblum goes through, the change he experiences as a character, fundamentally works really, really well in the script, and I think you will appreciate that.
Well, yeah, physically and mentally, it's very good. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Then I'll take off, so I don't hear any spoilers about it.
No spoilers for you,
but that's cool.
Yeah.
I also think there's something interesting about many of the films that we've talked about here, and the lauded body horror films. They tend to be remakes, like Body Snatchers, The Thing, The Fly.
I think I think there was a lot of appeal of the '80s when they started to be allowed to be more lenient with the code and whatnot in terms of what people are willing to watch. That there are a lot of older horror movies that are classics and that people grew up on, and that they wanted to see taken to a more realistic standard and taken really far to shock audiences. So you'll see that with like Dracula being remade, Frankenstein being remade, all of these horror movies
this December
being remade so that they can be gorier and more extreme for a more modern audience because it wasn't allowed to be so back then. Like I think
You should.
a good one that could be adapted was Freaks
Well,
from like 32, because that was pre-code
Oh
and
yeah,
it's already really
that'd
really
be pretty good.
horrifying to watch. If
for
you took
sure.
that and you adapted it for an even more modern audience, I think that'd be awesome.
Well, have you seen what the original thing was, which is the thing from outer space? Have any of
I
you
haven't
seen
seen
that?
that. I would love to though.
You should. You should watch. You should watch the thing from outer space. Let it settle in. Watch it, and then watch the thing after, and then look at like how much they've changed. Because that's not like I don't. It's not like a direct remake, but it's literally like the same ish film. Like not idea. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was the first one. Is the thing from outer space. So
Fascinating. Well, all right. Enjoy your guys' conversation on The Fly.
Absolutely. Now, I had never seen The Fly before watching it this time, and it's obviously body horror classic.
this is
Yeah,
your first
never seen it.
time, Dylan. That's crazy.
I avoided it a
Knowing you,
lot.
that's crazy.
I know.
Why?
I did, not intentionally. I unintentionally
Oh.
avoided it. Like it just never came about. It was never one of those things where it was showing somewhere or it was available on streaming. Like I just never saw it. And it was finally available on Criterion Channel, and we were obviously doing this show, and I'd obviously just seen The Substance, so I was in the mood. And oh my god, it is so fun, so incredible.
It's awesome.
It's such a great concept. Jeff Goldblum is giving one of the best performances of his life. Gina Davis is doing an incredible job supporting. I just the entire last 20 minutes of the movie, it takes it like so far and so extreme that it blows my mind that the rest of the movie leading up to it is what leads up to it, because it's fairly tame for the first like hours. Like there's a little bit of gore. The monkey obviously turns inside out, which is crazy, like awesome effect. And obviously there's bits where Brundle is becoming more of the Fly, and he has gross aspects about him. He's oozing and stuff, and he has gross face makeup.
Disgusting.
But that last 20 minutes, the whole part of it, from when he breaks into the abortion clinic to grab her, from that moment to the end of the movie, just feels like a completely different movie, because it goes so much farther than you'd expect it to. It crosses so many crazy lines, melting the guy's hand and leg off with his spit vomit, trying to force her into the transporter so that he could become a human again is insane. When the actual fly itself molts off and he turns into the full Fly, I didn't think they were going to do it. So they have, obviously in the Fly, he becomes like a fly human, and towards the end of the movie, he has that Brundle Fly look where he looks kind of like minced meat all over from top to bottom. And like I thought this is as far as they were going to go, because I was like, how could they take it farther than this? He looks pretty fly-like. I didn't think they would go full Fly. I was like, this is pretty far. And then he like takes that step, and the whole crust of his body melts off of him, and he just turns into a full Fly human. I'm like, oh damn, it looks incredible. So in terms of special effects, this is like neck and neck with
this is the body horror of body horror movies, like you said. Like I fully agree.
It is
like,
right neck and neck with the Thing for what I think is the best body horror.
Really?
Yep.
Oh, okay. As a body horror film, yes.
Mm-hmm.
I was about to say, as
in
a
terms
film,
of like special effects, it is neck and neck for what I think is the best special effects in a movie I've ever seen.
Oh, that's all right. Hey, wow. Well, I'm glad you got to watch it then, because I didn't know this was your first watch. That makes it even better. That makes it so much better. I'm so glad that's what we agree with then, because I also feel like you'd like Body Snatchers, but not like how you like this film.
Mm-hmm.
Like this film, I know you'll probably watch again because it's so good.
There's just so much depth to the story as well. In the same way that The Substance,
story, the characters, there's so much depth to them. Like it doesn't feel one note. There's dimensions, unlike, because that's the thing we talked about as well in Body Snatchers, is like there's not a lot of dimensions in them, and all the characters feel kind of dumb. A little bit of a spoiler, sorry, Dylan, but it's a 70s horror movie. So
it's like how cheesy characters. It's supposed to be like a riff on 50s horror movies, right?
Yeah, it's cheesy. It's cheesy. But like this one, you care about the characters. You care about what's happening. It's a cool idea, simple idea. Like just a scientist makes this transporter, and a fly gets fucking in it. Like it's awesome.
Great
and
idea.
Then everything just goes fucking it just goes crazy. He gets stronger. He starts going crazy. He's changing. God, and then he just gets all malicious. It's so good. Jeff Goldblum as well.
He's so unhinged in this movie. It's
awesome. It's so good.
Absolutely fantastic. Completely nuts. Balls to the wall. He's like crazy from the beginning, which is great. Like he has these weird quirks about him that he puts into the character that I think work really well to define who this character is. It make him still like a little charming while still being very eccentric. And then he just takes those quirks and he amplifies them and amplifies them and amplifies them and takes it farther and farther in the same sense that the makeup is taking the makeup effects farther and farther. So he's like matching his performance with how crazy effects are going in such a great way. He's playing into that so well.
Oh yeah,
great.
This is a classic for me.
Yeah, this is another one where him ripping the fingernail off of him to like.
Oh, I forgot about that. That's so funny.
God, dude. Oh my god, dude. It got me.
I didn't even think about that.
The whole movie, I'm sitting there, I'm doing fine. Nothing too crazy's happened. I'm like, wow, he's getting pretty gross. And then he like looks down and he notices his fingernail like peeling off, and he takes it and he just rips it off. And I go, oh no, too far, man.
Yeah, too far. I don't even care what you look like at the end of the film. Just don't touch your fingernails.
Honestly, God, leave the fingernails alone. Oh my god. I think the concept that he's like taking body parts and just stowing them away as the Museum of Brundle is really, really funny.
Yeah. Then
referring to himself as Brundlefly is really, really funny. There's a lot of
great elements. Man, I'm gonna rewatch it again soon. I might even watch it after this because I know I've seen it a couple times. This is one of the early films too my dad showed me, because I know I talked about on the podcast how my dad like I watched his films, like the black and white ones. So I've seen like all like the old like the Nosferatus, the Creature from Black Lagoon.
Absolutely.
The old Phantom of the Opera. I
don't think it was
good. I like it. It's very weird knowing, because like now it's like been adapted to so many more things.
Now it's a musical,
yeah, I like it a lot. It's a very good. It's a horror movie. Like it's for its time, it's a horror movie. I'd say give it a watch. That and the original Invisible Man, if you haven't seen that. Okay. The original Invisible Man's great. It's just fun.
Yeah,
nothing scary. But so like those are his films, and then like he's like, okay, now he's gonna show me his favorites, because he grew up watching The Fly. He grew up watching Alien. So like those are like the early films I got to watch. I remember I watched it as a kid, and I watched it just throughout my life. So I gotta watch it again. But it's one of those classics near and dear to my heart. It's just so like I don't have a complaint about it really.
Yeah. Like I can't think of a single thing I didn't like about it. It's a little slow in the beginning, but I think it works to its benefit that it's slow, because you get to know the character a little better.
I do think a lot of those movies in that time period just had pacing issues in general, though.
At the same time, though, it gets going from the jump. Like you're in an office building where he's like hitting on Gina Davis, and then he takes her back, and you're immediately in the jump of he's explaining that he's like a scientist who's invented teleportation.
Yeah. Like it doesn't really. It takes off very fast, but then that's when the pacing starts to get a little bit jonky.
Absolutely, yeah. But I think ultimately I like it. Yeah, just fantastic. Great set design with the teleporters. I think they look fantastic.
Yeah,
I think everything to do with them.
It is just the epitome of body horror, from the creature just to the simpler things like your fingernail thing.
Dude, the ending when he is like combined with the teleporter itself and is like just a mush of metal and man, and she points the gun at him and doesn't know what to do, and like she can't do it, and then he takes the gun and puts it to his head because he just wants to die. Because it's just that is, I think, the amalgamation of like body horror has gone too far, and like it just wants to die. It wants to please kill it so that it can die. And
that's just that. Head off. Yeah, that wasn't even in the movie. That's just Jeff Goldblum like, this is too much makeup. Please just shoot me.
Please get it off me. Let me
get it off me. This is actually Jeff Goldblum. Get it off me. Please shoot me dead. End the film.
God, it's so good. How many Brundle flies out of 5 would you give The Fly?
So, because here's the thing. I like it more than The Substance. And I gave that a 4.
Yeah.
But I think originally I gave this a 4. So from memory, from discussion, I'll give it a 4.5. And then after I rewatch it, I'll settle on a review. I think, but I'm gonna give it 4.5 because I know I liked it more than The Substance.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it 4.5 as well. I think the only half that I'm taking away is just that there is like a slower pacing to the beginning, where I'm wanting to get more into that story, and I feel like it's like pushing it to get there. It's not quite reaching it until he takes that leap and does a teleportation with the fly. That I think makes the whole thing start to just take off from there. But other than that, I mean, fantastic movie. David Cronenberg does a great job directing it, great job adapting it from the original.
So good.
Incredible special effects. Absolutely wonderful.
And then now it is Ryan's next watch. It has to be.
Absolutely.
He has to watch
it. Now, before we go, are there any other body horror classics you want to shout out right now that people should check out?
Well, if you're looking, do you see what I put at the bottom of the
script?
There?
I absolutely see it. Those are some great movies you have on there.
So, are there any of you haven't seen that I can mention really quick?
A lot of them. Let's see. I've seen Barbarian. I didn't really like it that much. I've seen Evil Dead. Love it.
Wait, which ones, if you don't mind me asking?
I've seen the first two. I love them both.
Have you seen the remake of the first one, not the second one of the first one?
I have not.
You should watch it. As just an overall like horror movie, I think you'd like it. It's not better than classic, but I think the first remake, like the first one, is really good. Second one is like one of the worst things ever created. Like not as bad as Halloween Ends, but like it's not good.
I've seen Malignant, which I liked more than I thought it would, and I was like surprised by the twist. It got me. I have seen Martyrs, which is surprising. It's a little bit of a deeper cut, but
that's a very interesting take that you've seen Martyrs and not.
I've seen the original French one. I have not seen the American remake. Is what I'm.
No, don't just watch the French one.
Yeah, I've seen the French Martyrs, and it's
something
grotesque.
Right?
It is the farthest I've ever seen a movie go.
That's like a weird, realistic body horror too.
Yeah,
not like realistic, but you know what I mean. Like it's just like I don't even want to talk about it. I don't like Martyrs.
Do you remember Mari Grace from high school?
Yeah, of course.
I was talking to her on the phone, and she's like very heavy against horror movies. Can't watch horror movies.
Fair enough.
Struggled to get through Five Nights at Freddy's. Like,
what?
Can't do scary movies. And so I asked her, I was like, what do you think is the scariest movie you've ever seen in your life? What do you think is the scariest movie you've ever seen? She goes, man, I don't know. Oh, you know what? I did. My friends made me watch this movie. It's called Martyrs. And I went, what? That is like the scariest thing you could possibly see. How could you see this?
People say that's like
insane.
One of the worst movies that you could ever watch.
Yeah.
Especially the French version.
It's insane. Like, how could you have seen this? And she was like, I just didn't know what it was going to be. And they made me watch it. I'm like, that's crazy. That's a crazy answer for you to give.
Yeah. Those are bad friends. If you don't like horror films and their friends said, yeah, we should watch Martyrs. Those are horrible friends.
It's insane. But all of the rest of the movies on the list, other than the ones I just said, I have not seen.
Dylan, I need you to watch Possessor then.
I really want to.
It's good. It's very.
It's David Cronenberg's son, right?
I don't remember who direct. You know what? Give me one sec. Well, it has a very similar idea. Like, what did we just watch? The Substance. It's a very similar.
It's Brandon Cronenberg. It's David Cronenberg's son.
Oh, no wonder I liked it so much. Dylan, you need to watch this film. If you watch what we have on here, like Body Snatchers, whatever, cool. But I hope next time before we talk, you've watched Possessor because I want you to watch that. It is an insane movie.
Yeah, I wanted to watch that in theaters, but I just never got around to it. That was pandemic times. I just couldn't see it.
Pretty sure it's on Hulu still, sadly. So your ads.
Ads.
But you need to watch it. That's why I put it in all caps because I'm like, this movie, because it's like I said, it's like The Substance, like idea wise, but it is so good. Like I was shocked when I watched it. I was like, Jesus, it's really good. That's on your list. And then you haven't seen. Oh yeah, don't watch Human Centipede. That's an example. You'd like Suspiria as well. The
original, the remake.
Both. They're both good. The one I put in there is the remake. The remake is the one I put in there, but both are really good. I think they're both very different though at the same time, from what I remember. And then Tusk. Don't watch it, please. It's just an example. Hills Have Eyes is really good. I know there's like a couple of them though. I just suggest.
I wanted to see the OG one for sure.
Yeah, watch the OG, and then you seen The Descent.
I have not, but I've heard a lot of things.
You haven't seen The Descent, Dylan?
I've seen clips. I have not seen the full thing.
That should also be on your list then, because I don't even consider it like scary. I just think you want to know what makes it scary. Wait, you've seen clips, right? So you know the basic idea of the film.
Yeah.
The claustrophobia.
They're like spelunkers, right?
Well, they're like cave dwellers, like cave. Well, they're not even that. It's like I'll give you the basic beginning. It's these friends, 6 women, they all decide to go on this cave exploration because of one of them just recently lost their like family in a car crash. So they all go out and do this, and it just all goes downhill. The claustrophobia makes me so uncomfortable, and there's other things that happen too.
That reminds me of Barbarian, like the scenes in Barbarian where she's in the underground bunker part, which I think is the high point of Barbarian, which I don't think is a very good movie. Those scenes are fantastic.
Honestly, if Barbarian just ended after the first half,
it would have been great. It would have been great.
That was really good.
The first half, fantastic. The second half doesn't make sense. I don't understand.
Don't care for it. Yeah, but the Possessor you need to watch, and then if I were just to recommend anything else on this list, watch this then if you ever get a chance. Oh, and Suspiria. Those are like
This
the
is
three
fair.
from what I just wrote down. They're like, those are things I know you'd really like too. There's some other foreign ones too, but I felt like I wanted to put like names that you may have heard of as examples, but you may not have watched.
Yeah.
Because like I could talk about The Audition, which is a Japanese film. I don't know if you ever seen The Audition.
I think I've heard of it.
That one's insane too. But again, that's different. Those there. That's it.
All right, you heard it here first, folks. Full list of body horror. Spend the whole episode talking about body horror. You've got tons of recommendations now, tons of movies to go watch and go see. Go watch these movies. You can email us any kind of comments you have about these movies. If you like them, if you didn't like them, we'll read them. Be happy to read them. Share them with Sean so that he knows that you liked his recommendations.
Yeah. Or don't. Just say you hate them. Be like, okay, cool. Glad you didn't like them.
That's all the time we have. If you'd like to give your thoughts on the show, you can email us at theboxofficeshowpod@gmail.com.
Our main title theme for the show is Sundown by Joseph McDade.
If you like the show, please give us 5 stars on whatever podcast app you're listening to. Big shout out to Sean Tormey, who came out every single year to do horror talk, every October, every Halloween, always here, always talking horror, always talking Alien, always talking anything. Sean, thank you for coming out.
Thank you guys for always having me. I'll always be your October. I mean, any other month you need me, let me know, but I'll make sure to always be free your October for you all.
Hell yeah. Be sure to tune in next week. Have a great rest of your day.